Have you ever wondered why it is we get in our own way? Why it is that we often know exactly what we need to do more of or less of, but we somehow can't get around to doing it? Have you ever wondered why some people go to therapy or read self-help books and they get better when the rest of us stay stuck? It turns out that as humans, we all go through the same process to make any change, whether it's potty training, quitting smoking, going on a diet, or quitting cocaine. It's all the same process, and it all starts with the wishing stage. The wishing stage is when we know something's wrong, we know it's not great for us, but we're not uncomfortable enough to do anything about it yet. So for example, maybe I started eating too much junk food over the holidays, and I kept buying and eating junk food. I know that it's not making me feel great, but I'm not uncomfortable enough yet to be doing anything about it. So I keep buying and eating junk food. But then something will happen that will increase my awareness of what I'm doing and my dislike for what I'm doing. So maybe one day I try on my clothes and they're all getting just a bit snug. So that will probably help me move to the want stage. The want stage is when we know that there's something wrong and we're ready to start to do something about it, but only when it's relatively easy and convenient and there's not too much pushback. So at that stage, I would probably commit to, I'm not going to buy any more junk food. But if you showed up at my house with a chocolate cake and a bag of Doritos, I'm still going to eat them. Then something will happen that will further increase our awareness and our dislike for what we're doing. So perhaps I go see my family doc and they tell me that I'm becoming a borderline diabetic. Well, if I'm committed to not being a borderline diabetic, I will move to the commit stage, where no matter what happens, I'm going to live my values. I'm going to stick to my guns and make that change. So that means that even if you come to my house with a bag of Doritos and a chocolate cake, I'm not going to eat them. We go through this exact same process for every change that we make. And it makes sense, right? Because whenever there's a gap between where we are and where we want to be, or how we're acting and who we really are, that creates an energy, that creates distress. Unfortunately, most of us, we're not willing to sit with distress. And so instead, as soon as it shows up, then we start to use that energy to beat ourselves up, which keeps us stuck longer, or we distract ourselves with alcohol or drugs or work or worrying about things that aren't in our control, and all of these things just keep us stuck longer. When really, the truth is that not everything that hurts is harmful. And what happens is if we sit with that distress and we let it build, it gets to a critical mass and it becomes the energy that actually moves us forward towards where we want to be. Ask yourself, what is it that I want to change in my life? What would be meaningful changes that would make a difference for me? And then ask yourself, what stage are you at? Are you at wish, where you know you want to make these changes, but you're not really ready to make a difference yet? Are you at want, where you're ready to make some changes, but only when it's relatively easy and there's not too much pushback? Or are you at commit, where this is unquestionably going to happen? And be careful, because a rookie mistake is to look at where you'd like to be instead of where you actually are. To get an accurate assessment, ask yourself, based on my actions, what stage am I at? So how do you help people, whether it's yourself or somebody else, move through these stages? The only way to do that is to help people recognize and develop an awareness of what they're currently doing and what the negative consequences are. And then you need to sit with that distress without beating yourself up, without distracting yourself, without going to social media, so that that critical mass can build and you can start to move forward. Start by writing down or making a note or an external reminder of what it is that you're going towards. So if you want to lose weight, get a picture of what you looked like when you were more slender. If you're saving for a trip, then get pictures of that trip and put them in your wallet so you're reminded of it every time you open your wallet to spend money. Make that cost more visible. You become more aware of what you're doing and you start to dislike that cost. The other thing to do is to start to pay attention to what are the ways that you escape that distress when it shows up. So make a list of what are the ways that you distract yourself that keep you stuck longer. And at the end of the day, the thing that you have to pay the most attention to is remembering that not everything that hurts is harmful. And we need to sit with that distress. We need to be uncomfortable with where we are in order to have the energy build that will move us forward.